welcome to the Amijo show. I'm Jo Borman-Trott, the host of the show. Thank you for watching, listening, tuning in, sparing a bit of time on your Friday afternoon, or if you're listening after or watching after. I am thrilled to have today an expert in relationships, dating, love, and all of that jazz. Karen Marshall. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Jo. Lovely to see you today. Really excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for being here, and thank you so much for coming on the show. There is a very good reason why, although you and I have been connected for a long time, there's a very good reason why we're kind of on the show now, because next Saturday, the 28th of November, we are holding an amazing event, which I'm really super excited about. We are having a lockdown love and connection event. 3 experts, plus wine tasting, which is kind of curious too, isn't it? But 3 experts, we're focusing on relationships, we're focusing on love, and it's all about connection in lockdown. Obviously, me as the personal brandy type thing, looking at image and how we're showing up. But you, Karen, has created this brilliant event because you recognise right now people are more challenged than ever about finding love in lockdown, right?
Absolutely. It's changed completely, hasn't it, and how we do that?
It has. And so what do you think is happening for people right now? What's going on with dating and relationships in lockdown? Let's focus on dating today, I think, because I know a lot of my friends are single, like me, and going through that whole online, offline, swiping, left, right, and centre, getting confused, getting overwhelmed with being online with dating, let alone business. So what's your output on what's happening for people right now?
Well, it's a big question, Jo, because I've got a lot I could answer for that one. I can break it down and make it, in a few bite-sized chunks. Really, what's going on? There's 2 types of people out there right now. There's the singletons that are happy where they are, and they're happy being single, independent, and they love their freedom because of the journey that they've been on to come to this point in their life. And then there's the other individuals, the men and women, who are, looking for a relationship after divorce, who are looking for love later on in life. But because the dating landscape has changed so much with lockdown, it's, well, how do we do it differently? And, we are online, and it's bringing people together in one way. It's helping us to connect, but of course it's taking that magical element of chemistry and mystery away from the dating. So, I'm speaking to many individuals and clients that are still dating, that, we can still go out for walks and meet someone face to face, because that's where we really feel the chemistry, not online, but when we meet with someone. But before we go any further, I have got some top tips to share with you. But really just to say, on that dating journey, it's also about, we need to ask ourselves, I'm going to ask these 3 questions, or 2 questions rather. How good are you at your job and what you do in business? Because if that's likely to be a high number on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the lowest number and 10 being the highest number, I bet many of you will be saying, I'm pretty high up there because I'm good at what I do. So it's likely to be an 8 or 9, always room for improvement. But also then I'm going to say to you the second question. How confident do you feel about your self-worth, your self-love, your self-confidence when it comes to attracting the right partner to you, the opposite sex, the man or the woman that you're looking for? On that same scale of 0 to 10, how good would you say you are at attracting that right partner to you? What number would that be?
You're not asking me now, are you? You're not going to ask me that. Good.
And this is for the audience, Jo, to say, well, ask yourself, those 2 numbers are really good benchmarks for you to get really clear about where you are right now. Does that help, Jo? With it's a good benchmark, isn't it?
Oh, Karen, I always end up having a slight laugh, funny, and enjoying my experience of talking to you. But there's always a pain point, because you always hit a nerve, and that's because you're so good at what you do. But you're right, because I feel it myself, and I see it in so many of my friends, that they are amazing at what they do. They love what they do. They get so much joy from what they do. They know they're on the right path. But the minute you flip it to relationships in the kind of the opposite sex or same sex, whatever front, it's totally different. It's almost like the barometer goes from being like, yeah, bumper high, to just going blah, and it goes into that little round bit at the bottom. And that's where you come in, isn't it? Because the trouble is, it's all well and good showing up for these networking events, feeling A1 and owning your space. But if you can't do that in your dating life, then it's not going to work, is it? So what we were speaking about before we press the live button was actually that difference of how we feel when it comes to dating, and we say we don't feel ready to date. Isn't that what people say?
Yes, I love that. It's such a good statement, because this is one of the myths that I want to talk about today, Jo, because so many, again, men and women say to me, Karen, I'm not ready to focus on dating right now. I don't need help with my dating right now, because for whatever reason, they've either been hurt, they've put relationship on hold, and they say, I'm really not ready. But here's the thing. Here is the golden nugget that I want to share today. It's about, you need to get ready now while you're on this journey of self-discovery, while you're healing your heart, your mind, your body, while you're healing from the journey that you've been on to this point. Because believe me, if you carry this big sack on your shoulder, what's happened to you before, and you carry it with you moving forward, it is the ideal opportunity to start learning about yourself now. Because when we get ready now, when you are ready to start dating and looking for a serious relationship, guess what? You've got your relationship toolkit behind you to that you've learned the insights, the knowledge, the wisdom that you need to prepare you before you're ready. So when you are ready, then you've got all of this information that when you go out dating, you will attract a different type of person to you. You'll become more self-aware of the way you communicate when you are dating, to recognize Mr. or Mrs. Extraordinary. And it may sound a bit cliche, but it's absolutely so important to get this right. And the best example I can think of is, would you take your driving test without doing the theory first? Because if you did, you're likely to set yourself up to fail. And it's the same principles of what I'm sharing. Does that make sense, Jo?
Yeah, totally. So what you're saying is, it's all part of your life and experience. Every relationship, even if it lasts a week or even maybe 3 hours, whatever, it's all part of dating. So you're always ready to date. I think the trouble is, and I speak from my experience, is that we put too much emphasis on finding the one, the person that, that will stop the, so what one of my phrases is, all the messing around. It's like, oh, tedious, and it can feel slightly tiresome, when you're going through these different processes, and oh, okay, another part of the journey and another stepping stone. And by and large, at our age, a lot of my friends are married and settled, and we look at that and think, oh, how wonderful it would be to be settled. But actually, we're not prepared to put ourselves into that experiential time of saying, well, this person might be a week, it might be a month or a year, or it might be the person, but it might not be. But until you delve into it and just put yourself out there and trust it, you're never going to know, are you? I suppose.
No, and it's an interesting point, because there is so much pressure that when we are looking for a relationship, not only the pressure we put on ourselves, but from our friends and our family. And in a report that I read, that both Relate and eHarmony put together, based on 4,000 people participating in a survey, actually it came out the second highest percentage, around about 25%, that people have so much pressure on themselves because families saying, well, shouldn't you be in a relationship by now? You're still single. What's wrong with you? Or what's the reason? And it's nothing like that. It's because, I know we all want to find that extraordinary person, that not someone second best. We want extraordinary. But it's funny, it is all about that pressure, externally and internally.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and people mean well, right? They want the best for you, but there's always this kind of, and again, I talk a lot about communication in my work, and I think sadly that it's the message is communicated in the wrong way, because what they're saying is, oh, we just would love to see you happy, but I think people put their own values and situation on that. I call her my soul mum, a very dear friend, and she'll ring me up and say, oh, are you dating Joe? And if I am, she's like, well, okay, is this the one, Joe? Is it, and I'll, explain, or when my last relationship ended, she said, well, he sounds like a decent enough chap. He was on a good salary. I know she actually says that. He seems pretty stable. Wasn't he good enough? And I'm like, no, just simply no. It's not, because obviously there are certain people in certain generations that they just look at, the house, the finances, okay, he's not psychotic, he'll do. So it's realizing that that's their journey, and that because she's sadly she's settled, I would say, possibly. So I think that it's getting strong in yourself, isn't it, and recognizing well, that just because other people have these situations, we don't have to all be the same, do we?
No, and it's a really important example that you've given there, Joe, because how I help individuals is with the relationship toolkit to recognize the right partner when you're dating, to attract the right partner to you, because it's easy to go out and say, oh, I fancy that person, or aren't they just gorgeous, or I love the way they come. All these elements, we need to attract the right partner to ourselves. And also how to build a really strong and fulfilling, loving and rewarding relationship that thrives. It's a toolkit we need to know before we go into a relationship. But the example that you use, Joe, communication is the most important piece of information that I want to share on this call today. And for your listeners and your viewers to really listen to this point, that when you start going out dating, how someone communicates with you is really critical for you to observe their communication style, the way they're naturally wired. And it's a formula, it's not prescriptive, but believe me, it's a formula that when you learn this wisdom and this knowledge, again, coming back to your driving test, that if you've learnt the theory before, when you start dating, your theory will then come into play, and you'll not waste your time with the wrong partners. You'll recognize the right partners. So let me give you an example here. If a guy has got the big car, the big house, is very charismatic, could be charming, is brilliant at what they do in their job. And this works with women as well, men, that if you're looking for a businesswoman, a high-flying businesswoman, it works on both sides. But this particular person, that if they're, for example, someone that is a big, decision maker, their natural wiring, they may be very task focused, and they're very goal oriented, and it's all about bottom line results. Are you with me, Joe? Still keeping up with me?
Totally.
This character is someone that is likely to work long hours because they're very task focused and driven. And, they've got brilliant jobs. They have to put the hours in. But when we combine someone's personal or their natural wiring at work, when we then need to consider that they will bring that wiring into a relationship as well. So, for example, if you are wanting to look for a man or a woman that is going to be in your life, that is going to spend quality time with you, that values your life balance, the partner that you choose, if you base it on the big car, the big house, the big job, they may not be around too often because they're task focused and it's about their job. So you're likely to be further down the priority list of a relationship. And so many couples or people that I've spoken to where they say, you know, I'm hoping that I can change my partner because, you know, if we love each other, we can change that. But this is one of the biggest obstacles. Does that example make sense, Jay?
Yeah, no, totally. Because it's where you're at. What we are doing right now is relevant, isn't it, to what we're actually looking for? And actually, I had someone gave me a tip last year. I had a relationship with someone, and I described this person, and he was a coach, and he just happened to throw it back. He said, "Well, what you've described, Joe, is you." So this person was X, Y, Z, and so focused on their career, really driven, really entrepreneurial, but too focused and has no time for a relationship. But that's you, isn't it? And it totally threw me because I thought, my God, you're so right. Even though I couldn't see at the time, actually, I really suddenly woke up to the fact that I personally didn't have time. What with my kids too, I didn't have any time for a relationship. I wasn't prioritizing me time. I wasn't free at weekends because I was filling them with volunteering and live demming and all the rest of it. So it gave me a real wake-up call to go, right, hold on, I need to change my lifestyle, my life plan. And actually, you're right. I met someone. I had a great relationship with someone, but you know, he said I'm married to my business, and he was, and I think he probably still is. And it's such a shame because I could see the potential. But the last thing you can do is change someone, nor or should you try, because it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. It's our natural wiring, you know, how we are naturally wired, and we have carried it with us a lifetime. And you know, it's more evident in our jobs because of how we, you know, apply ourselves to our business or our job. So absolutely, and this is why when we understand how we communicate in business, then understand how we communicate in love, which are very different. It's a very different language and a different psychology. That we follow 3 behaviours. We're either needy, distant, or steady. And these 3 behaviours that we, you know, if we have our activated button pressed in us, which is what a partner will do when we meet them. For example, if you're dating someone early on and you haven't heard from them, are you quite relaxed and to think, you know, they might be busy in their life, they haven't got time or they're working? Or if we connect to our neediness, it's, well, I haven't heard from them. What's wrong with me? We start making up all these stories. So just imagine how this starts to amplify in a relationship. When we start that relationship, we can become even more needy because we're not having our needs met. We expect our partner to satisfy our needs instead of satisfying our own needs. And then a relationship becomes out of perspective and we stop understanding each other. The flow of love stops if there's an imbalance. And I think the important part that I think I need to mention here is that if we meet someone in our life that is called interdependent, so we have 2 circles that come together when we meet someone. If we are 2 healthy individuals, we complement each other. But if we come together and we're looking for someone to make us happy, we are looking for someone else to fulfill our needs. So it's called a codependent relationship. So the healthy relationships that we want to attract in our life are 2 people that are happy together, that come independently together. Then we know we've attracted someone that's healthy, that is focused on their emotional intelligence, focused on their self-development. They value their self-worth. And I've said a few things together there. Does that make sense, Jay?
Yeah, there's so much, Karen, we could do with a 4-week series, I think, breaking it down. There's so much in all what you're saying. But yeah, no, absolutely. So the important takeaway from that is to summarize, I think, is to actually feel completely content and not look like you're. I think we can tell when we're looking for something extra. And actually, when you want someone to just run alongside you in life, that's a different desire, isn't it, than a desire for someone who's going to make you feel happy, who's going to make you feel secure, who's going to make you feel glamorous or gorgeous or lovely. It's feeling all of that before they come along, isn't it? Which is why the inside work needs to be done. So tell us just a little bit about the sort of inside work that you do, Karen, and what it is and why it's important.
Yeah, the inside work. You touched on the point happiness, and it's flowed perfectly, Joe, because So many people look for their partner to make them happy, and it's just on that point. But in answer to your question, what I do to help people, I've walked my talk over 13 years of my adult life. I consider myself single. I came out of an 11-year relationship believing that someone else was going to make me happy, and that, I'd meet Prince Charming and we'd live happily ever after. Of course, life doesn't work that way. But through that journey, when I did meet someone that I thought was my Prince Charming, he left me heartbroken. It was that point, was the catalyst, that I thought, I need to do something different if I want different results. And this is key for most people. We need to do something different if what we're doing is not working. And this journey took me on when my partner then left me, heartbroken and broken. I decided that the next person I was going to meet in my life was not going to let me go, and that they had to be extraordinary. So what I did, I threw myself into as much education as I could. I retrained myself in the mind, body and energy, and also as a life coach. And what it did, I then realised through my own personal experience of wanting to find extraordinary. And I just on that point, I just want to emphasise, I met my life partner when I was 41, and we married for the first time when I was 47. He's extraordinary not because he's perfect, but because we have the right skill set and the toolkit that I'm just going to share with you right now, Joe. This is how I help clients to accelerate their journey. The experience that I learned and the understanding to recognise what works and doesn't work, I decided to create my own coaching program. And it's a 4-step coaching program that is not the traditional coaching. We understand coaching is, it's about setting goals, looking at our goal, wanting to take action, looking at the steps that we can work towards to achieve that goal. I combine the 4 steps because these are the 4 individual steps that will accelerate anyone's journey. But what I also share is not just about a relationship toolkit, it's a life skill toolkit. So let me just explain. Step 1 is about getting clarity about how we think and feel, what we want in a relationship, what's important. Because if we're going to navigate towards the right person and recognize the right person, we need to know who they are. Because it's a bit like getting in a car, putting a postcode and an address, that you can go straight there if you understand your address. If you're looking for a relationship and you've got no address or postcode, you're going to take the longest journey, the longest route, you're going to get lost. So you need clarity. Step 1. Step 2 is about communication. And, we've touched on it today about communication. These are the insights and the wisdom that took me 20 years to figure out that it's not a no-brainer. It's not rocket science. That's what I mean to say. It's not rocket science. But what I've done, I've put all the pieces of the puzzle together in this journey. So step 2 is getting clear about how we communicate in business and how we communicate in love. Step 3 is we need to focus on our personal happiness. And we started off with those 2 questions. How happy, how you feel about yourself on that scale of 0 to 10. It's focusing on your confidence, loving yourself, understanding your self-worth, but also how to attract the right partner to you. So when we focus on ourselves to get ourselves to an 8 or a 9 out of 10, and we start believing and recognizing that we want to attract the person who we have become, and I'll just touch on that in a minute, that we need to really focus on the catalyst. It's like the new you makeover, just to revisit what you can tweak and sharpen about yourself to get you to an 8 or 9 out of 10. That's step 3. Step 4, just briefly, is about focusing on how we can deal with conflict. Because when we understand our buttons that a partner will inevitably press in us, when we understand when that button comes up, we can turn the volume down. When we recognize our buttons, for example, I'm not good enough. Don't tell me what to do. You're not listening to me. And these were my buttons that I grew up with because we learned them from our parents or our caregivers. We then bring these buttons into our intimate relationship. So when our partner presses our button, we think it's their fault for making us upset. So it's really important we focus on conflict. So it's a bit like the ingredients of the cake, Joe, that, you know, there's 4 steps to that cake, and it's mastering each step. And when we combine all of it together, we have this incredible, you know, cake, or I like to call it one step at a time. If we're learning a new dance routine, we need to learn one step. And then by the time we've finished our routine or the dance class or whatever that might be, and we combine it all together, we've just got this flow and this beauty of the way we dance in a relationship that we can then apply when we're dating, but also in our relationship as well. Does that help? Make sense?
Does. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you. There's a lot in each of those sections, and you know, it's I have done a 2-day course with you way back, which was a fascinating journey, really interesting, and it made me realize that I needed to work way more on step 1, because I hadn't really done that. I'd done it on a level-ish, but actually the outcome, do you remember? Well, I'm sure you do remember, was that I needed to be single. It really needed to be single to work on that step 1 and getting myself really kind of with the whole self-identification and the rest of it, and lots of childhood stuff that I had to get rid of. So very, very powerful was working with you then. So let's bring it up to context now, because obviously Lockdown Love is the focus of our event next Saturday, the 28th, which is Saturday afternoon. But let's just talk about what would your best kind of guidance for people, you know, so someone like me, for example, who actually I'm online so much, and I have done online dating before, or I call it online swiping. But what would be your best advice to go into the online swiping world? Because, you know, it is a strange beast. It's not real. It's, you know, I'm an energy person, and I find that the 2D version of dating online quite a struggle. And I know a lot of my friends who are energy focused too, they struggle with it, because there is a lot more going on with it, and there's lots of fakery, if you want to put it like that. There's lots of I don't know, that there's that disconnect. So what would your best advice be for that?
You can't judge a book by the cover, can you? And unfortunately, that's what the swiping world is working on. And I know that you've got, you know, for example, associated questions that people have answered just to try and raise that mystique about them to grab your attention. So what I'd say is, absolutely, if you are liking someone, not to spend too much time online, that you say, let's have a conversation. Ideally, you know, it'd be great if the man is going to say that, but I would just say to stop wasting your time, just to say, let's get on the phone, because you can tell so much by speaking to someone. And of course, it's all safe and secure in the comfort of your home and also your security. Then if you do get on and you have those similar values, that, you know, similar hobbies or whatever that might be that pulls you together, then I would say go and have a walk together to find out if you've got that connection. You know, and one thing, Joe, you know, as you say, the energy is so important. And, you know, also myself, energy, as an energy healer as well, was one of the interventions that I'm qualified in. We want to feel that chemistry. We want that connection. So as soon as we can, get offline. Don't waste your time online having conversations in WhatsApp, whatever it might be, because so many people hide behind our technology. We don't actually get to see the true person. But also, I think what's really important as well is the people that are fake out there are going to attract fake people. If you are honest and open and express exactly what you want when you first meet someone, guess what? You're going to repel the people that you don't want to attract to you. But more importantly, you'll attract the right person to you. So don't be afraid to share your truth, to share what's important to you. If energy healing, if law of attraction is important, whatever that might be, I know that the apps are only limited with so much information you can share. But for example, if you're an online dating platform, for example, eHarmony, if there's an opportunity to go through those steps, really be honest with yourself and share your honesty, because then you'll attract that back to you. What you give out, you'll get back, and it's, in a loving way. And that's what I really want to emphasize here, that if we focus on what we want in our heart, our mind and our body, then we can start to work that magic, the universal law of attraction, to bring that partner to you.
Yeah, and one of the many takeaways I took from your course was focus on what you're looking for, not for what you're not looking for. Because, I think when you've had not great relationships and they've been challenging, it's so easy to focus on, oh, I definitely don't want that, and I don't want that. But the law of attraction doesn't understand the not. That doesn't register. So it's really important just to focus on what you actually are looking for. But I think that's really great advice. And I totally agree. I think actually if you need to start talking, literally hearing each other's voice. And we can tell a lot by just voice. I really feel like that. There's so much the voice gives away straight away in a heartbeat. And actually accents, not being funny, but I'd struggle with a Geordie. I've got to be honest. I don't know. It's just... Yeah, anyway, or Brommy, but there you go. I'm judging. Terrible. That's it. I'm gonna match with lots of Brommies now because I've just said it. It's really funny. Oh well, listen, Karen, it's been fantastic talking to you. Let's round off by talking about this incredible event. So next Saturday, the 28th of November, we recognise that, and Karen has recognised, so she's organised this event, that there are so many people in this situation right now, don't know what to do, like to find love. So there's 3 of us. So tell us about the person who is also an incredible, absolutely amazing matchmaker. So tell us about her.
Yes. So what we want to do, top tips and advice. This is an opportunity to come and learn from 3 experts, as Joe said, Joe, myself, and we also have the lovely Michelle Begy. She is the MD of a London-based matchmaker, and she's going to come along and talk to us about the dating landscape and what that means to the modern man or modern woman, and how we can navigate our dating journey, which is fantastic. And then I'm going to be talking about the relationships and focusing on what we've spoken about today, but also other tips as well. And then Joe, tell us about what you're going to be focusing on.
Oh well, obviously just about how you're showing up, and like you just said earlier, it's really important that we just show up as ourselves. And obviously that right now means being this big on a screen. But that sadly we don't. I think a lot of people put a lot of thought into how they show up for business, and when it comes to dating, they either think, oh, I can't wear red, he'll think X, Y, Z. Honestly, the conversations I have with my girlfriend, it's like, I better not wear that because he'll get that feeling. And it's always about how we're expressing ourselves, and that means just being really authentic and really true to yourself. And so I'll be talking about how we can do that visually. And obviously part of that we can relate to business too, but it's just the same. It's all just showing up as you. And
yes,
we feel we need to really connect with our own values, and that's really important to dating, I think, and you just cemented that really. Yeah. So I'm really excited, and we've got wine tasting as well, which is exciting as well, because it's a Saturday afternoon, so it'll be really lovely to have a glass of wine with this wine tasting expert, which is cool.
Absolutely, and I think this is the nice part, because finishing the afternoon, the event starts at 4:30 till 7 o'clock. So it's the 3 experts, and then we'll finish off with a mix and mingle, which is possible online for us to do that over Zoom. And so we've got the professional Abby Bennington, who is an educated wine and spirit educator, so professionally trained. And she said, we're going to make it fun, but also we're going to be talking about some elegant wines and how that's going to work. It's a theme around Christmas in Italy. So it'll be a whistle-stop tour of Italy, and with a Prosecco recommendation and also a red wine recommendation. So how that will work is, clients will come along, or guests will come along, and then they'll need to source their own wine selections. But Abby will be giving us all the professional expertise on what we need to know.
Brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's, you know, we're in lockdown. We're not going anywhere, are we, really? Apart from
No.
exercise. It's definitely dark about now, so it'll be a week tomorrow. It's 4:35 now, and it's pitch black here. So you know, it's going to be a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon. And obviously, you never know if you're mixing and mingling afterwards. You never know who you could meet, huh?
Absolutely. So there will be an opportunity, and I think this is the important part, Jo, that, you know, whoever comes to this event,
Yeah.
you know, we're not governed by distance. We're in the privacy of our own home before our Saturday evening starts. So there will be an opportunity to leave details in the chat box if people want to do that. It's optional.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, you know, we were talking about this the other day when we had our chat before that today, that, you know, I think people are really realizing that geography doesn't matter when the right person comes along. You know, a friend of mine has just met her partner. He's moved over from Ireland,
Oh, wow.
you know, and they've just created their first home together, and they met a year ago.
How
Exactly a
lovely.
year ago they met, and he moved over to be with her in lockdown. They've now got their first house together. So you just never know, do you? But you have to be open and vulnerable to trusting, don't you? And making those first steps. So I will share on the link and everything else the Eventbrite ticket place where you can get your tickets. It's $29.95, an absolute bargain for an event, and a lovely way to spend a Saturday afternoon. And you'll hear from experts such as Karen, and obviously we're going to have some wine tasting and fun too. So it's going to be a really fun afternoon. So Karen Marshall, Love Coaching You on LinkedIn, or lovecoachingyou.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. That's Karen's website, and follow up with Karen, find out about her courses, and come along a week Saturday. We'd love to see you. It's going to be a lot of fun, I promise.
Well, yay.
It will. Thank you so much, Karen. Brilliant talking to you.
Jo,
Always
lovely
good.
talking
Always
to
talk.
you. Thank you so much. Look forward to next Saturday.
Oh, I'll see you then. Take care. Thanks
Take
for
care.
listening. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.